welcome to the Mega Gamecast. This is episode number 21. I'm Ryan Shepard. With me, I've got Drew LaPointe.
What up, peeps?
And Redbeard.
How's it going?
Not too bad. We've got a couple things. We're just kind of shooting the shit today. Red's got some things he wants to talk about with Destiny. I've been farming. Drew's been killing Nazis. I've also been killing zombies. Maybe I'll talk about that too. And there's been some time manipulation going on. We're going to talk about that too. First off, we've got Red here. He's got some hot tips about the Division, how to level up real quick, right?
Well, Ryan,
apparently I was talking about Destiny.
Yeah, okay. Red caught that too. Yeah.
Did I say Destiny?
The first thing you said was
You
Destiny.
totally did.
Oh, really?
But it works perfect though.
Okay, so. I didn't even notice. If both of you heard me, I believe it.
I thought it was good sarcasm for a minute.
And I'll definitely hear playback on the tape. That's for sure.
For all you listening, he definitely did not do that on purpose.
Yeah, I guess not. So anyway, how's the Destiny?
The Destiny.
Yeah. How's the Destiny?
We could probably put that all into one word, but
I can tell you that the game so far is kind of getting boring. It's repetitive. You get into a point where there's nothing left to do. I mean, you sit there and do a daily challenge, or you go into the dark zone and get murdered. Ever since they added that last patch that allowed you to get into the dark zone and get killed, and you barely have anything happen to you, everybody goes rogue and just betrays you.
That is what I heard. I heard they updated it so you don't get as penalized for going rogue. So now going rogue isn't as big of a deal. Or, like, people are just doing it now?
Now, I wasn't sure if that was that something they intended, or was that in, like, a issue? Like, did they accidentally do that? Because there were a couple things that were... They pushed out a patch. They pushed out a patch, and there were some problems with it. And I thought one of them was, a lot less penalty for going rogue. Like, you weren't losing your experience or something like that.
No, that was in a patch notes as an intentional thing.
Okay.
They did that on purpose, but I think it was a mistake because now the game, you go in there and everybody's just shooting everyone, and it makes it no fun.
Yeah.
You don't have an opportunity to go in there and get something. You go to an extraction point, and somebody shoots you, on your team, just leaves your team and shoots you, kills you, takes your stuff. So, I mean, you had that happen. I mean, there's no penalty for it, so it makes it difficult to get things. Now, granted, I found out after reaching level 50, which is not the cap for Dark Zone, but which is like the highest you need to be to get the gear there, that all the gear they sell it's crap.
It's still not good.
No, you get better gear from doing like your challenges or from going from the Phoenix Center on the base.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody's getting Phoenix credits. Like, well, which is best to get? Should I get it from here or should I get it from there? Things like that. But one of the things I would have to say that's been bothering me is the glitching right now. People exploiting what glitches the game has. Mm-hmm. There's been a thing where I ended up joining a random and there were 30 people in a mission.
Okay, that's not right. There's only supposed to be 4, right?
Correct, yeah. So
30 people.
I go in there and I see all these people. I'm like, what the hell's going on, And what you do is they finish through this mission in 5 minutes. And so you get all the credit that you would get for doing a mission. And then you get all the gear you would get for finishing missions. So people would constantly be doing this over and over.
So all 30 people would get it? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
So it's like it's like an easy way for everyone to just
run through it and get whatever you get.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and all you need to do, let's say if they had this where you could level up right now, you could literally level up from whatever level 30 to whatever they moved it to, like within an hour. So I mean, they were supposed to be fixing that to keep people from doing the exploit, but I've been hearing that more and more people are still doing it. There are other glitches that they had where you could kill the boss, get the gear, die before you kill all the extra ads off in some of the missions.
Yeah.
Let them kill you. It respawns the boss, and then you do it over and over again because they'll keep dropping the gear over and over.
Oh, wow. So because when you die, you don't lose the gear.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
So, I mean, there's some things of that just, it's kind of like Bullet King all over again.
What was that?
So I mean that comes in. Bullet King is where they would shoot this NPC, named NPC, out in the world, and instead of killing all the guys around him, you die and he just respawns again. So people would constantly doing that. So I'm wondering what's up with the programming that's going on with this game. I mean, how well did they program it? Are they actually looking into this?
Yeah, because that seems like something that would have happened in like other circumstances in a beta, but other games as well. Like, it's not the first time that a game like this has come out that, you have ads and you have a boss. If those ads can kill you after, like, for instance, I mean, Destiny. Once you kill the boss, in a lot of cases, the ads despawn. Like, they'll keep sending in ads throughout the match, and then once the boss is dead, that's the end of it. They despawn all the ads.
Really?
And,
okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So you can't get killed by them. But, I mean, there are situations like that where you can, but I'm pretty sure it also checkpoints immediately after you kill the boss, too. So even if you did wipe out, it would still revert to immediately after you killed the boss. That's weird.
Well, then the other thing that comes to this, though, is that you can do that, and then you could just let him kill you, and you don't have to finish off the thing. Like, if all you have to do is go and aim for the boss, and then you don't have to kill ads anymore, and you finish your mission.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a double-edged sword there. So you kind of have that thing where, well, what do we do? Now, they did fix it with some of the missions where you could kill the boss, and, like, if you died, they didn't spawn any more loot. So, I mean, that did happen, but yeah, you do have those issues of people exploiting the game, and I find it to take away all the fun.
And this is all on console, right? This is all on PS4.
Yeah, this is console. This isn't even that PC version.
Yeah, I can only imagine what people are doing on PC, dude. Like,
yeah, this is the people just exploiting the console. So I mean, yeah, like you said, PC would far more.
It's not even really a hack. It's just like exploiting the way that the game's built.
Exploiting poor programming.
Yeah. Huh.
Well,
that's
just
too bad.
Going by what you're saying, Red, maybe this game isn't going to have that longevity that I was thinking when it first came out, because, you're not the only person I've heard say that, like, once you hit that cap level, things kind of just get kind of boring. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
so when is that what is that Incursion coming out?
I believe it is the 16th. It's either the 12th or the 16th
of April.
Yep.
Holy shit.
It is coming out right in the next week or two. So once that comes out, that right there will definitively tell you whether or not this game will last.
Yeah.
The second that comes out.
Yeah, I thought that was coming out like a week or two after the game launched.
That's what I thought. But no, this is when it's out. And so after that comes out, we'll find out. Okay, so is this game going to last? Is this all they're going to give us? Are we going to easily get bored? How much gear and how quickly can you accumulate what gear comes from this particular thing?
Yeah.
Is it an open area map? Is it a number of missions? What is it?
Yeah.
So if it's just a single raid and they only release one every 3 months, the game will die.
Yeah, I don't see that. Because that's basically your end game.
Exactly.
Running that raid, and it's not like you have several of them. You have the one.
Well, the problem is it'll die until the next one comes out. Yeah. So people play it. They'll beat it within a week or two,
Do you think it'll be a situation where people, they fall off of it, but then they come back?
Only for the amount of time it takes to beat the next mission.
Yeah. I know a lot of people with Destiny, they would just keep running the raid over and over and over again.
That some people do that, and you can do that. It depends on how challenging it is.
Yeah.
If it's an extremely easy thing, no, people are gonna die off. If it's extremely hard to beat, that thing can last 2 months. I mean, you can have something where if it like there's only a select 5% of the gamers that are playing this game can beat it, then yes, you're going to have people like really pushing to get that, depending on what mode it is. Like if it's really hard to beat on hard, then the challenging mode, you're going to have those like super gamers, those elitists who are like, all right, we're going to go this, we're going to sit down, we're going to theory craft,
Yeah.
we're going to have a strategy. This person's going to be over here with this particular skill set, talent, and so forth, and we're going to set it up so that we might, we kill the boss at 5 minutes 42 seconds exactly. So I mean, you will have that depending on how difficult it is. And from everything that I've been reading about it and seeing about it, it's supposed to be extremely difficult. So we'll find out. I mean, once it comes out, I'll be sure to give you guys a heads up and let you know.
Yeah, I wonder if the combat has the depth needed to make something like that
I hope so.
interesting long term.
Well, I mean, what do you guys think has more in-depth combat, Division or Destiny?
Probably moment-to-moment combat, probably the Division, because
Yes.
the cover system and everything like that. But in terms of like, I don't know, playing the Division and playing Destiny, I have more fun playing Destiny.
Yeah, because that's more of a run and gun shooter.
Yeah, it's more of a run and gun shooter, and I think just the act of shooting in Destiny is a lot more fun than the Division.
Yeah, because those guys have really good shooting mechanics, for sure.
Like, killing an enemy in Destiny is fun because they explode in some funny way that, like, their head pops off, and every time it looks satisfying, whereas in Division, they just kind of slump over.
Crumple. Yeah.
Unless you pop one of those guys with a freaking tank on their back and they explode.
Yeah.
But that's the only fun thing.
But when you're doing it over and over and over and over and over again, little things like that make a difference. You know, the satisfying feel of the sound that it makes when
you're totally destroying
the guy's
your
head
enemy.
pops off. It's like, it's like, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see if there's some sort of like push and pull between the Division and Destiny. Like if the Division, when Destiny, the next big thing with Destiny comes out, if like the Division goes low numbers, and then when the Division puts something out, Destiny goes on low numbers. Because I think there's probably a lot of people that are looking at both, and like, you can't do.
It would be smart.
Yeah, you can't do both those games at the same time because there's such time sinks.
Yeah. It would be smart on both of the developers to be doing that. It would be extremely intelligent because it would, as you said, do that push and pull in between, so something's coming out, we go back to Destiny for a little while, we beat it, all right, something's coming out for Division, we go back to Division for a while, we beat it, come back to Destiny because something's got, so it would definitely be smart on the company's behalf.
I doubt they'll do that, but that could end up happening.
Saying all this, though, I definitely, it's been about, a year and a half now, and people are still playing Destiny like that. Like, as far as, like, long-term value goes, despite what people have said about Destiny, you got to give it props for, like, the player base it's maintained and, like, the fans.
Yeah.
Their additions. Like, because, when it first came out, people were so excited, and then they were so let down at first.
And I was definitely one of those people.
Yeah.
I got the deluxe edition or whatever it was with everything that you get for free and all that stuff for the first game. Not the Taken King, got everything, played the hell out of the game, got myself up to the top level, and then raids start. And I started to get some people to get into raids, and we did some of the raids and knocked them out, and then they died off from playing it. Maybe got bored. They started doing updates that changed the way the mechanics were, the combat, how your weapons were damaging, completely mess it up. So you had to redo everything that you had. And then so people started dying off, and then it was really difficult to find people to play with unless you were to jump onto a group or a forum saying, hey, I need players to play with on this game.
You had to find randoms. Yeah.
And the problem is that with randoms, even doing that, it's still pug. You might end up with somebody that might be a jerk. You may not flow, and it takes so long. And then you want to be like one of the top people to do it, to finish it first in the world, and you can't do that because you're trying to find people to play with, and it just got really frustrating. My complete complaint with that game was matchmaking.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of stuff that needed matchmaking that didn't when that launched, specifically the raids, and I don't think there was other stuff too that didn't have matchmaking, but they added that in later. The strikes.
Yeah.
the strikes. I think they didn't have matchmaking, but they did add that in later, which made that game better because, if you only had two people, if you only had you and a friend on at one time, you just need that third person in order to make it possible.
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff some of the stuff was hard. You couldn't just do it with two people. You had to have three.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely update with the Division as it gets updated. We'll see about that incursion. We'll check in with Red, see what he thinks about that.
Absolutely.
Well, Red, I mean, still saying that, you must enjoy the game, though. Like, you're still putting your time into it.
I enjoy doing the challenges on the game because the challenges seem to be fun. Depending on who you're with, like I literally sleep through a normal or hard because it's so easy to go to beat because you don't even have to get into cover anymore. You just go up, shoot them in the face, they're dead. Shoot them in the face, they're dead.
It gets that easy.
I mean, most of the thing I'm doing is burning through all my materials, trying to build the best weapon to get the correct RNG for my talents on what weapon I'm trying to craft. So, or gear.
Yeah.
But other than that, I go in and do the daily, so I just have all the Phoenix credits. Not right now. The only reason I continue to play it is because I have a completionist attitude.
Yeah.
So I'm grabbing all the blueprints out of the place, and then once that's done, I'm basically like, all right, I'm done. I'm gonna wait until the next big patch comes out or incursion or whatever the next DLC is, and then I'm done and might do that push-pull thing with another game, like Quantum Break that's coming out or Dark Souls 3 or whatever it might be.
Awesome.
Cool. I've been doing a lot of farming lately.
Farming?
Yeah. I'm a farmer, as you know, Drew.
Yeah.
I grew up on a farm.
That is, yeah.
I didn't really
Farmer
do any
Ryan.
farming. Yeah, I grew up between two farms. And other people did farming around me, but I never really did too much of it.
His cousins and stuff.
Yeah, my cousins and grandparents and stuff like that. But I've been playing Stardew Valley, and this is a little strange because it pulls from a bunch of games that I've never had any reverence for. I've never even played. It's a lot like Harvest Moon on
Great game.
Nintendo and Rune Factory, which the combat is very much like Rune Factory. So this game came out on Steam a few weeks ago and kind of took off like wildfire. It was like number one on the charts for several weeks, and it's another one of those one guy development team stories where the guy's been working on it for like 4 or 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And, it's finally coming out, and it's exactly what it needed to be. Because there hadn't been too many of these games coming out, like specifically Harvest Moon, and it did, as far as the fan base is concerned, exactly what it needed to do. I'm not going to speak too much about that. I'm just going to talk about my experiences with it and why, for some reason, I like it. Basically, you make your guy, and you get to name it. You get to name your farm, and you are put into Stardew Valley, basically. It's the place that the game takes place, and you farm. That's the most basic thing you do in it. You hoe the ground, and then you plant your seeds, you water it every day, and you grow crops. And the idea is you pick those crops, and you keep some of them, and you sell the others to earn gold. It's called G. I don't know if it's actually gold or not, but that's the currency in the game. But it's all of this stuff around the farming that's actually the most interesting because you have a day. Like it's set up into days and then seasons. It starts you off in spring, and it kind of just trickles you along with a little bit of information. Like, oh, if you plant this during this time, it'll take 5 days to grow, but this will only take 3 days. And some plants they grow multiple times. So you pick it, some of them you pick, and then you have to buy new seeds and plant them again. Others, they just keep growing the same thing over and over again. So you learn which ones you got to do about which ones you want and which ones you don't want. But then there's relationships that you have with all the people in the town that's next to your farm. There's probably like 20, 30 people in the town.
Yep.
And they all have different personalities. They all have different things that they like, different things that they don't like, and you can have like relationship with. If you're a guy, you can have. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. You can. If you're a guy, you can have a relationship with any of the single guys. That's up to you. But you give people gifts, and they're.
Hey Bob, how you doing?
Hey Bob, how you doing? Make sure you don't go after any of the married ladies.
All right, Ryan, I just gotta ask quick once. Does this relate? Like, not relate, but this just the way you describe it reminds me of Farmville. Is this like? Does this? Have you ever played Farmville? Or
I've seen
how it
it.
is?
I've seen it. It's kind of like. I guess it's kind of like that.
Is it more of
But
a?
there's way more to it. It's
Okay,
like
yeah.
Just more
Farmville's-
interaction.
No,
Yeah,
I
there's
know
way more
Farmville's a
interaction.
free to play. Like just
I mean, as far as I know, Farmville's just about farming.
yeah, that's yeah.
Exactly.
So, believe
This-
it or not, farming is actually, like, I would say about 25% of this game. You do your morning routine where you have to water your crops, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But, so every day you start with so I guess I should probably describe this a little bit in case you're not watching on YouTube. But it's like a top-down isometric view.
Okay.
So it's not directly top down. It's a little bit to the side, and you walk around like you would in say a Legend of Zelda game
Yeah,
or something
okay.
like that. You're
Yeah.
just walking around the world, and every morning you wake up with a full energy gauge, and everything you do, well, not everything, but most of the things you do take some energy away. So by the end of the day, you have to use that energy gauge, and if you overuse it, you pass out and you wake up in your bed the next morning.
Okay.
There's this homeless guy that picks you up and leaves you in your bed in the morning, leaves you a note and is like, hey, I found you in the mine or something like that, and
Yeah.
there's some guys around you. I don't know if they stole your stuff, but you should probably be more careful.
Now all the dialogue is text based.
Yeah, all the dialogue is text, and you A through everything. I'm
Yeah.
playing on PC. I'm playing with the Xbox One controller.
Yep.
It has kind of controller support. It's not fully implemented yet.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. It's kind of like you move the stick around and it moves a mouse around the screen in some situations. And other times, the actual menu items you can select and everything like that. I've had no problems with the controller, really. I mean, it could be better, but it's really not that bad. So yeah, you start your morning with a full energy gauge, and you got to water your crops, pick your crops,
Yep.
sell the ones that are good. Like there's a star rating, so silver ones are good, gold ones are even better. The other ones I usually keep to use as gifts. So then I go around the town after I water all my stuff, and the general store is open, so I go and I buy my seeds. I give some people some gifts, so they like me. I'm going after Abigail. I got my eye on her.
So it seems like this game's a bit more explorative than kind of like you brought up as a Farmville, but
Yeah,
like you
It
said,
has
it's
more
like Harvest.
personality. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like Harvest Moon, where you can go around, you can explore a little bit, a little bit more of an open world, I guess you would say.
Yeah,
and
it's
outside of your farm, where you're not just stuck in
at
your
the
farm.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they do a great job of kind of not making it super micromanagey, but giving you enough to make it feel like you have enough control over your crops and your territory, because you have this big chunk of land that you can basically do whatever you want on. And when you start, it's all covered with rocks and forest and trees and stuff like that. So as you progress through the game, you start clearing out more area. It also serves as resources because you need wood to build new buildings, rocks to build, like stone to build buildings and stuff like that.
So you build buildings. Okay.
Yeah. There's like a carpenter. So you go up to her and she's like, I need like 400 wood and 500 gold, and I'll build you a chicken coop. So
Okay.
I tell her, okay, I got all of that stuff. I bring that to her. Then she starts building a chicken coop on my farm. And then I can then go to the person that sells animals and buy some chickens, put them in there. And then every morning, as long as I feed them enough, I have an egg. They lay an egg.
So
then,
you're gradually building up your farm
yeah.
as you're going.
That's exactly
Is that
what
like
it
your
is.
main goal?
Yeah,
for
so
the game, or-
really the goal is whatever you want it to be, because
Okay.
there's no penalty for not doing anything. So if you don't want to do any farming, if you just want to go to the mine and find crystals and gems and stuff to trade, you can do that.
Oh, okay.
You could just do that. You could just not. But there's like missions. There are quests that you can take.
Okay.
People like, oh, I'm looking for a pumpkin. I need a pumpkin for something.
Yeah.
So then you go and you grow a pumpkin, and then when it's grown, you deliver that to them, and they give you some money.
Yeah, so you're building up your farm, and you're also making the people around you
Exactly.
happy,
Yeah.
or
happy.
whatever.
And
Okay.
yeah, did you have something, Red?
Yeah, I was going to ask. So, kind of like with the real farm, are you able to hire like people to come help you with the farm to help do anything in this game?
No, not yet. Anyway, not as far as I've gotten.
And another question, I'm looking at this right now and taking a look at it. What do you think of the graphics for this, considering the type of game it is? And you said this was pretty much made by one guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So, what do you think about like the graphics and the way I'd say in this day and age, the way it's designed and how it plays?
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, it's not something we've seen in a while. It's very much a throwback to those older games on like NES and SNES and stuff like that. And the visual style looks just like that. It looks like it was pulled from that generation. Like,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
sharper, obviously.
Absolutely.
And it's all original art. He didn't like borrow anything from those older games or anything like that. But that's what he was going for. He totally went for that. And for that type of game, it works. It doesn't need to be super flashy graphics for, something like that to work, just like Farmville.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
popular, and those are kind of cartoony graphics, and
Yeah.
they're not like super detailed or anything like that.
I'd say that the way that it looks like it plays is kind of reminds me of the way the original Pokemon games played. When you walked around and I'm trying to think of when you were talking about the way you see the world, where you move around it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the way the Pokemon games progressed and played over the years.
Okay.
And I only mean that based on like how when you go into a room or a building in this thing, how it blacks out everything else around you except for that specific room.
Okay.
So that you can see that and so forth in the game. But I mean,
Yeah,
like
when
you said,
when you go into a building, you go into that building and you don't see anything else around it. It's
Yeah,
like
okay.
surrounded
Exactly.
by black.
Like Legend of Zelda did too.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
and the same with Legend of Zelda. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's like that kind of style, which is cool.
Yeah, everything's real time. There's no turn based or anything like that. So combat is all real time.
So there is combat?
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's a mine in the game. It's only one mine. There's not like a whole bunch of different mines. So again, this kind of lends itself to like there isn't so much.
Yeah.
There's just enough. So you go into the mine and there's probably like I think there's like 100 or so levels of the mine. So you go in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. And you go in there and there's monsters in there. So there's like bugs that will attack you. There's these little round slime things that jump at you and stuff like that. And you have a sword and you swing the sword.
Oh, you have a sword.
Yeah, it's super simple. All you do, not even that. You don't even poke with it. You just swing it. You just swing it out in front of you. Yeah, exactly like that. You just swing it out in front of you and you kill it.
That's awesome.
And you can upgrade your sword. You can get better swords, so you do better damage. And the deeper you go, the harder it gets. Like
I just figured as a
there's
farmer, you'd
worse
at least
enemies.
get a pitchfork.
No,
Pitchfork and a torch.
no,
Yeah.
it's a sword. And yeah, I mean, if you want to, you can just do that. You can seriously complete the game or quote unquote complete it by just mining stuff like breaking rocks and getting whatever's in them, like crystals, and you get like they're called geodes. You can pick them up and you can bring them to the blacksmith. He cracks them open and there's something inside of them. Like maybe it's something awesome, maybe it's just another rock, but it's something to do. You go into the mine one day, you get these geodes, you don't know what's in them, then you come back and that's something you do the next day. You go visit the blacksmith and see what's there.
Do you have the opportunity to like choose a certain thing other than farming? Like you're talking about carpenter and blacksmiths and stuff like that. You don't have that opportunity yet?
The beginning is always the same. There's no professions or anything like that. You have the farm. I mean, when I say you don't have to do you don't have to do certain things, you are going to be limiting yourself. For instance, I think the primary goal so far. I mean, there isn't like a mission objective screen or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the primary goal so far seems to be to rebuild this community center that's kind of gone into disrepair in Pelican Town, which is the town that is next to your farm that everybody lives in. And there's certain things that you need to collect in order to, repair that. And it's actually quite a lot of stuff. Like you go into these rooms and it tells you need these fruits. You need to collect these fruits and donate them to the community center in order to progress. And then you'll have to find these vegetables and these items like gold and stone and stuff like that. And it's a lot of stuff. I haven't really spent too much time there because it seemed kind of overwhelming when I first started looking at all this stuff. But that seems to be like the long-term goal is, piece by piece you start, delivering these items to this place, and it becomes, a place to be sort of thing, a community center.
Now,
yeah, I mean, it's just so the world's not huge, but there are distinct sections. Like there's a beach, like I said, there's a mine, there's the town proper, there's like rivers, and there's a wizard tower. There's a wizard in this game. And you can treat him just like a normal guy. You can give him gifts every day, and your relationship status is displayed with hearts. So you can go into the screen and 3 hearts. You've been giving this person some gifts for a while, so they like you.
Oh, they like you.
Yeah, they like you.
What'd you say, Abigail? Is that the
Yeah,
one you're
Abigail. I think Abigail's at 3 right now. I'm going after. I've got some backup plans too. So.
Oh, don't let Abigail know that.
No. They don't talk.
They don't talk. Even better.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's
a
just
very interesting concept, dude. Like the way you describe it, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, there's crafting, so you get recipes so I said every morning you have to water your crops. Well, you actually unlock sprinklers. So
Nice.
if you craft a sprinkler, you don't have to water those crops every day. It'll do it for you.
Yeah.
So there's the progression in that sense where you can make things easier for yourself. Like I said that I had gotten chickens and you got eggs. I made a mayonnaise machine. So I put every morning I grab the eggs and I put them in the mayonnaise machine. And at the end of the day, I've got a jar of mayonnaise that I can then sell. Mayonnaise is pretty valuable, like 150 G's.
Oh,
Yeah, 150 G's for a bottle of mayonnaise. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like I said, I don't know what G's are worth, but
negative 150 G's for that.
150 G's.
I heard about it, so I checked it out just as more of a curiosity, and
it's hooking you.
Totally hooked me. Like
it's awesome, dude.
It's one of those games where each day probably lasts about 15 to 20 minutes.
I was about to ask you like how long in real time does a day last?
Yeah,
okay.
I would say about that, and it's one of those. I'll just do one more day.
Yep.
So how much have you played so far is another question.
Does it tell you how many days?
Per day, per real day, not day in the game, per real day.
God, I think it's like 35, 40 hours so far.
Damn, dude. Wow.
I'm almost at I think I'm in the middle of fall of the first year. So that's how it measures it. It measures year
goes
1,
by year and stuff.
fall, and then each season has about a little bit less than 30 days. It's like 28 or 29 days. And there's a community calendar. You go up to it, and it's like it has everyone's birthday, so you can give them a gift on their birthday if you want to. And then there's like events. So when the game first started, there was like a spring dance that I could go to, and I hadn't really talked to anybody. And I went up to everybody and asked, "Hey, you want to dance?" And they're like, no."
Wow.
Yeah, everyone. I totally got shut down at the spring dance.
So it's got like a mix of like The Sims, Minecraft, like all this kind of weird stuff,
bit.
too.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place, but it's enough.
But it's all condensed to make sense.
It's not so far into Minecraft. Like it's a Minecraft clone or anything like that.
No.
And there's just enough of it to, keep you satisfied.
But you don't play it all during the nighttime. That's when you sleep. Like you don't actually.
Yeah, I mean that's a little interesting because you can, if you exhaust yourself like run out all your energy, you can pass out at any time.
Yeah.
Like you could do it like 6 o'clock at night or something like that. But if you save your energy and you're just up at like 2 in the morning, I think you also pass out too.
Yeah.
I think that seems to be what the situation is, because no matter how much energy you have at 2 o'clock in the morning, you
need
pass
some
out.
you need some sleep.
Yeah, I need some mayonnaise and I need to go to sleep.
Mayonnaise.
And there's cooking, like there are recipes that you can make to cook things. You don't need food though. All food is to like, if in the middle of the day you can replenish some of your energy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Keep yourself going.
Yeah, and there's just like there's so much. Like every time I go to town, there's a new exclamation point on notice board, and it's somebody looking for something different. Sometimes it's just as simple as I need a mushroom, so I go and deliver a mushroom. Sometimes it's more complicated, like I lost my bucket. Like this in the fall, blackberries are in season, so this guy lost his blackberry collecting bucket, so I need to go find it. And there's no indication of where it is.
Yeah.
There's no time limit, so I can find it whenever. And I don't even have to. Like, if I don't want to,
it's your choice.
I don't have to go out and do it.
Yeah.
It's something to do. And,
so it gives
maybe you come across the bucket.
So it sounds like it gives you plenty of things to do.
Yeah.
Like every day or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
The only real complaint I have is this shitty fishing mini game.
Fishing, dude. Fishing never works in games.
Sometimes
it's
it
mayonnaise
does.
on the hook.
Sometimes
it does. It's really hard. Like, nothing else in the game is really all that complicated. Like I said, combat is just swiping the thing. I mean, you can die. You don't actually die. I don't even really know what you lose. But you get knocked out, and then you wake up at the top of the mine again, and
the hobo
you
gets
lose
you?
some stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
You forget parts of the mine. So if you started on level 30 and you get to level 35 and you died, you would forget between 30 and 35.
Oh, okay.
Because it's weird how
it's as if you weren't already there.
Yeah. It was like it's very strange how the mine works. Some of it seems like it's randomly generated. Other parts are definitely permanent. Like certain levels are definitely permanent, and others seem to be completely random every time I go into them. And at certain levels, you open up a treasure chest and you get something special. Like I got a new sword, or there's a very limited amount of clothing. Like boots can give you like more defense or something like that when you're in combat.
Huh.
Yeah, man, it's just like I'm surprised that I like it.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that I've played so much as I have.
And how much did you pick it up for on Steam?
$15.
Okay. No, I mean,
it's not a bad price.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you get your money's worth out of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's not like a never-ending thing that sometimes when you buy something that's kind of like got an open end to it, the content doesn't feel special. It just feels like you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not like unique stuff. There's stuff that happens in this that's unique. Like every once in a while, a new thing pops up that feels like it's this guy carefully went through and dotted the year with these special events to happen, and so it feels like you're not just going through the motions.
Yeah.
It feels like every time you could wake up and something special could happen.
Yeah, which is cool. So is this something that's going to be like getting updated as time goes on? Or
yeah, he said there's an interview that he did with Game Informer a little while ago. You can check that out if you really want to hear his story and what he's going to be doing with the game. He wants to, of course, fix issues with the game. He wants to add in proper controller support, like real good controller support. I think that's probably number one on his list. And he's planning on hopefully continuing it, because I guess he seemed to suggest that there's kind of an end New Year's Eve on the third year. You're supposed to. So the story was you got this deed from your grandfather that passed away.
Yep.
To this farm, and on that day you're supposed to visit your grandfather's grave. So something's supposed to happen. Yeah. And that's kind of like the very last
event or whatever
planned thing that he has in the game right now. Huh. But you can keep going. Like there's technically no end to it. You can they keep going, and so you can keep farming if you want to. And I think he wants to add stuff in, and he wants to bring it to consoles.
Yeah,
So-
no, it
so
sounds
maybe-
like it
That
could-
was going to be my next question,
Yeah.
whether or not
Yeah.
you think you would be playing it more if it was on some kind of like handheld console or maybe a mobile device. Would you play it more?
I can't imagine playing this any more than I have.
Yeah, Ryan's put 40. What'd you say? 45 hours. That's pretty.
I'm kind of glad it isn't like on my cell phone or something, because I'd
Yeah,
be
right.
playing it constantly.
at work and stuff.
Yeah, I would never stop playing it. Yeah, I mean,
Well, how
I
big
think,
is the game? Do you
I think
know?
it would be really great on like a 3DS or a Vita.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it would be
Absolutely.
a really cool game because I mean it's not busy. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on in it, so I think it would translate well. And the UI there isn't a whole lot of controls, so it's basically you got your analog stick and a couple of buttons.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
two buttons basically.
by the way you describe it, it was obviously designed for keyboard and mouse, but I mean, it sounds like it's translating well enough.
It was designed. Actually, no. I mean, it was designed from those original NES games.
Yeah.
Because
True.
you only had a couple buttons back then. You
Yeah,
had the
yeah.
D-pad and you had a couple buttons, and so that's exactly how the game was developed with that in mind to make it authentic like that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep playing it. I haven't played it in a couple days now. Actually,
What?
maybe a week it's been. I'm just playing some other stuff, but I think I'm gonna go back to it. There were a couple weekends where that's all I played.
Yeah.
Like I could have been playing a whole bunch of other stuff, but that's all I played. So.
No, I think it's telling that a simple little game like that can take your attention from these big old same old AAA titles we keep getting.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and it's also, it's kind of proof that as a gamer, it's good to try something new once in a while.
Yeah.
Just give it a try, give it a chance, and
Yeah, it could.
You
it
never
could
know,
be
you might
something.
like it.
Yeah, something you really like, and I'm glad to see these another one of these indie games. Another one of these one guy slaving away for 5 years, and it comes out and it's a fucking huge success. Like the guy's probably got millions of dollars now because he's like top of the Steam charts for a week or
Oh, that's
something
awesome.
like that, and consistently within the top 10. He's making a lot of
Yeah.
money off of that. There are no Nazis in it though.
no Nazis.
No Nazis.
Damn.
Shh,
Yeah.
you don't say that too loud around
Yeah,
here.
maybe there's going to be. Yeah, that's right. Red's gonna get flagged. He's gonna. They're gonna come in and arrest him. Yeah. So.
But yeah, what Ryan's getting at is I got it pretty cheap for the PlayStation. I finally grabbed Wolfenstein: The New Order. Yeah, technically, I guess, this is my first Wolfenstein experience. I never got it, I don't know. For some reason, when I was younger, playing, the Super NES and stuff, I don't know if even other people who played games just never told me about them, but, the Dooms and the Wolfensteins, those early first-person games just never really were around when I was younger. I never really knew about them. So, but I do just to break it up. I like in the New Order how you can go to sleep. He has a nightmare, and then you're suddenly playing the original Wolfenstein
Yeah, I
game.
remember that. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah. So, and I guess you can make him go to sleep whenever you're at that place to go to sleep, and he has that nightmare. So there must be a way to actually beat that level they give you.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I don't know. I remember playing a little bit of that. I got pretty far into it, but I don't think I ever completed it.
So yeah, it came out a couple years ago now. Very well received for the most part, I believe. Machine Games.
Yeah, their
They did.
debut.
Yeah. It turns those guys did the original Darkness and another game that's somewhat popular.
Oh, some of the people went from Starbreeze over to Machine Games.
Yeah. Well, no, cause maybe that's what it was. But it was
Yeah, I think I remember hearing that.
It was the review, yeah, because they had worked on the first one, not obviously the second one was a different developer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been going around slaughtering some Nazis.
Yeah.
BJ Blazkowicz, I
Yeah.
think that's how you say it.
Blazkowicz. Yeah, whatever.
The first thing I got to say about that is I'm surprised how in-depth the story itself is. When you think of a Wolfenstein type of game, you kind of think it's going to be a non-serious kind of, silly kind of thing where you're going around just shooting things, which is kind of what it boils down to. But there's these long sections where you're doing environmental puzzles and talking to people, finding things. There's a lot of character interaction, and they tried to. It seems like from the past to now, they tried to put a more serious, realistic spin on the whole. If Nazis had won the World War II and whatever, and
that was one thing that I took away from it. Was like, it really seems like this is a world where the Nazis had basically conquered the world.
And like they have this advanced technology, so they have these robots and mechs and stuff and whatever they're doing. And these weird robot dogs that always attack you. Those things are annoying.
Yep.
But no, I think what I take away from it the most is just I get people call it like it's back to basics, old school first person shooting, but they also give you the option to, they have a very in-depth stealth system. Well, not in-depth, but a decent enough stealth system. You can go crouch, go behind enemies, give them the behind stabs, and you can put a silencer on your pistol and do silent headshots. You can throw knives at dudes. So like there's quite a few options in combat, and then you can also dual wield any weapon that you have if you happen to like, dude, like you can. That's where it gets like to the unrealistic part. BJ Blazkowicz, he can carry like 20 guns at once, pretty much.
And dual wielding those shotguns.
Yeah, dude, the shotguns.
I remember that.
Yeah, I just got to the part where he ends up getting shrapnel bullets for the shotguns.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, dude, so I'm just taking dudes out in one shot.
They just bounce all over the place.
Yeah, and, but yeah, so I think that's what the gameplay is the part that really stands out. But, no, there's little things like, one of my and when I realized this, it's something when I was playing this, one of my biggest pet peeves about first-person shooter games is when you look down and you can't see the character's feet. I don't know. It annoys me when, like, their legs and feet don't exist.
Yeah, it's like you don't exist.
And I know that's how, when first-person shooters first came out, obviously, all there was arms and a gun. That's how it was for a while. I believe it was Halo or around that era when they first started putting legs and feet in there. But, you can actually, like, see more of your character in this. Mm-hmm. He feels like he has more of a personality, you know. Like, there's just... You go into a room and you kind of have to scout out the situation. If you want to go in like a tank, you can do that. But they also implemented a semi-decent cover system for a first-person game, too, which I also appreciate, that you can take advantage of. Yeah. So...
I remember. So I remember picking this up when it came out, and what was I gonna say? Shit.
I don't think that's what he was gonna say. Yeah. But so,
I remember picking this up when it came out, and I was surprised too. I thought, I had played a couple Wolfensteins here and there, not like religiously or anything like that, and I was surprised with how, deep the story was. Like you said, it was. They did a really good job with the storytelling. It didn't get in the way of the action.
No, I don't think so.
Sometimes I have an issue with games that try to storytell during their gameplay parts a little bit too much. Like, especially with first-person shooters, they tend to sometimes kind of dot story things like in between action, and I'm not really focused on story. Yeah. When I'm looking at what's going to be the next thing I got to shoot. And Wolfenstein didn't
What's going to come out and get me?
Yeah, exactly. Wolfenstein didn't do that. Like, most of the story was sectioned off with, like, cutscenes before and after the mission. Yeah. And initially I had thought that was kind of silly because it was, like, it just didn't seem to match up.
Yeah, it is a little weird. I know what you're talking about.
But the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, yeah, this is probably the way I like it. Mm-hmm. Because you have story, you have action, you have story, you have action, and you don't lose anything in either one.
Yeah, see, there's those two different kinds of first-person games. There's the ones where you are the first-person character and you never see their face. And then you got ones with Wolfenstein where in the cutscenes you see BJ, he's a character. You see who you are and he's interacting with these people, and then it transitions back to first-person when you're playing. You know. But then there's games like Far Cry and BioShock where you're in that first-person mode at all times.
All the time, yeah.
So, I don't know. Sometimes I think games work better when you see your character in the cutscenes, and then other times I think it works better. Like I feel like, BioShock Infinite, for example, it probably would have been weird if you saw Booker in like cutscenes, as opposed to, like the entire story takes place in the gameplay in BioShock. And that's a special circumstance. They pull it off perfectly.
And with BioShock specifically, you're supposed to be immersed in that world.
Yeah.
Like so if they took you out and like showed you Booker inside that world, you wouldn't be in that
You're
world
not Booker anymore, pretty much.
Yeah, you'd be somebody else. And but with Wolfenstein, the way they do it, it's missions.
Yeah.
So it's not isn't like a continuous campaign.
No.
It's like between.
You go all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, you go all.
Flashback. Basically.
Yeah. And you. So you have your community area where you talk to people, and then you start a mission.
Yep.
And then that's a completely different area. It's not all interconnected, and it's you get did you get results at the end of that game like how many Nazis you killed and stuff like that?
There are statistics.
Yeah.
There's a statistic menu you can look up. I have not made it to the end yet. Like I'd say I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through. I'm getting there.
So I wasn't sure if it did like at the end of a mission.
No.
Your accuracy and stuff like that.
Not that no. It just keeps going, but you can go into the pause menu and look it up.
Okay.
Like look up how long you've been playing. It tells you all the weapons that your favorite weapon you've been using, et cetera, et cetera. But it also has a skill tree system that it's more like you can look at it and it tells you the requirements to you blow enough people up with grenades, eventually you'll get another grenade pouch. Mm-hmm. Enough kills from cover. There's like a whole bunch of different things.
That's right. All
But
right.
you don't have to focus on it because a lot of the skills you upgrade, you end up doing it naturally through the gameplay.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's more of an optional thing.
I remember going through some of that, trying to get 100% on it.
Yeah, because
there were some things I just didn't do.
Yeah, well, because there's like 4 different play styles. You got the the one where you're dual wielding, you're the powerhouse. Mm-hmm. There's like a tree for that, and then there's like a tactical one where you're using cover more.
Yeah.
So like there's a few different, and then there's a stealth one. So like for a game that like more I feel like people look at as just a run and gun shooter, there's a lot more depth than I thought would be in that kind of game. Yeah. So I do appreciate that. And I guess, just killing Nazis is pretty fun,
Yeah,
and they
never gets old.
And they give you enough reason because like they do make these enemies seem like sadistic human beings. And you kind of like feel for like what BJ's going through, even though he's kind of like half machine or whatever he is. He does have enough personality to, but at the same time, like his main mission in life at this point is just to kill Nazis. Yeah.
Kill Nazis.
Like it's just an excuse, but it's just a single player focused shooter and it works.
Yeah. There was no multiplayer at all, which was surprising.
Yeah.
Especially at that time where it was like everything was getting tacked on multiplayer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like I said, that came out in a year when, we had a few letdowns like Watch Dogs and Destiny and things like that. And I think that was, Wolfenstein along with Shadow of Mordor. I know Ryan doesn't fully agree with that, but, games like that, Shadow of Mordor and Wolfenstein came out kind of under the radar. And those were probably some of the better games that year than the really popular ones.
Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor was an awesome game. I mean, I think it was short-lived, unfortunately, but it was definitely an awesome game.
Yeah, I think it got more praise at the time, probably because other things were so disappointing.
Yeah,
really.
I think that's probably why a lot of people talked about it.
Same thing with Dragon Age Inquisition that year. I don't think that would have been as highly praised if there was something else that really stacked up. Like if Dragon Age and The Witcher had come out the same year, Dragon Age probably wouldn't have gotten looked at that much, in my opinion. Because Witcher,
probably not. I agree. I mean, I was slightly disappointed with that game, but I mean, I felt it was too constricted.
Yeah. So after they released the New Order, they came out with this expansion called the Old Blood.
Yeah, I heard that was pretty good too.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I did not like it as much as the New Order. It had a very distinct like breaking point.
Yeah.
Like it after I read about it, it was supposed to be 2 expansions.
Yeah.
Supposed to be one and then another, and they're very different. in fact, the second half of the Old Blood is zombies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Are you still BJ in that?
yeah,
Or-
you're still
okay.
BJ. Yep. So the first one is more or less similar to the New Order.
Yep.
I think it was like a prison break thing. You were trying to escape a prison.
Yep.
And then it tried to transition into this Nazi zombie thing.
Yeah.
And it didn't really do that good of a job.
Didn't work as well. Yeah.
It was like such a hard cut. It was
Yeah.
like you were literally going down a river in a boat, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's the Nazi zombie part, and it just didn't. You could tell totally that it was like supposed to be two separate things. That being said, that Nazi zombie part was pretty fucking awesome because you got in a big robot and you got to crush
nice.
and shoot zombies. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I did get the part in the main game where you got to get in that mech and
Yeah.
blow everyone down. That was fun.
Yeah.
So there are these little parts where they
You
know,
feel
they're-
like God.
well, yeah, they make you feel like God,
Yeah.
but they break things up. You're not just running through corridors and just shooting Nazis. They break it up quite a bit, more
Yeah.
than I expected. And there's, even in levels, they give you like a few different paths to take. Like
Yeah.
it's not just a straight hallway, I guess, like a lot of like a
Shooters
Call of
can
Duty.
be, yeah.
Yeah, like something like that.
Yeah, there's some good levels coming up. So the end of that game really comes together. There's one section that I don't really like, and you'll probably feel the same way because
Yeah.
it's kind of very big departure from where you thought the game was gonna go.
Yeah.
But then there's a couple of sections couple levels at the end that are really fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just walking around underwater with my dudes last night. That's where I know I am. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually glad to hear that you guys enjoy the game. When it first came out, I got it. I didn't get much into it, but
Really?
I think, like you said, there were other games that were coming out at the time,
Yeah.
and I kind of veered to those. And then the whole thing with being in Germany and something about Nazis.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I know.
It took me a while to get that game.
Yeah,
itself
I'm surprised
because of that.
they'd even let it in the country.
You could not find it on the economy itself, like
Yeah.
inside the country, but anything like the U.S. bases would allow you to have it, and then you could order it from Amazon, as long as it came through the U.S. base.
'Cause, I mean, there's no hiding it. There's swastikas and shit all over that game.
But I mean that kind of took it away from like, hey, let's check this game out, and kind of pushed me away from playing it because I was here,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to offend, I guess you would say.
Yeah, no, it makes sense for sure.
Yeah, Germany has a history.
But, I mean, everybody does. I mean, everybody has a history of doing something. I mean, in 50, 60 years, are they going to be making video games about what happened with,
9/11,
Desert Storm and stuff
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
That, and how harsh that stuff was, or 9/11, or any of that
Yeah.
other thing.
No, it's weird to think.
What are we going to see in about 50, 60 years based on that?
And that actually, brings to mind, it's like, would I play a game, with full comfort? Would I play a game as, like, if I'm someone else from another country gunning down all these U.S. soldiers or whatever? Because they're trying to take over.
Exactly.
So,
and you got to take that into mind.
Yeah.
We're playing games where we're
playing games.
portraying.
yeah.
Modern
Ourselves
Warfare had the
attacking other
terrorists.
countries.
Yeah.
Had
Yep.
the terrorist
Yep.
level where you walked through the airport and shot a whole bunch of
Oh,
people.
I heard that was a very controversial thing when
Yeah.
it came out. But I guess it was skippable.
Yeah, I think you could skip it. I don't know. I don't
But
remember.
yeah, that was one of the biggest. Yeah. The whole airport. I always hear about that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why most games nowadays are pushing towards away from non-human type, enemies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could
which-
see some of that.
I'm not the biggest fan. I don't think they should hide from it. But
Politics and video
Yeah,
games.
I know.
And most people just want to have fun,
Yeah.
Others make video games to rub somebody the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's true. But for me, it's not really about the fact that you're fighting Nazis in this game. It's more about, is the
You're just
game,
playing history.
Yeah, is the game
you know.
fun? Is there, is
Yeah,
the
it doesn't
shooting
really- it's
mechanics
just-
work?
it's another
Does the
thing
story
to
make
shoot.
sense? Yeah, like
The Nazis are just another thing to
yeah,
shoot.
like I don't. It's not like I have hatred towards the Nazis. That's why I'm playing it. So. But I completely see where you're coming from.
I
And,
mean, hey, if you
know.
hate the Nazis, I'm not gonna say you're
Yeah.
wrong.
Like I said, you're playing history. I think I could, dig up that robot somewhere out in the backyard here.
Yeah. Those metal dogs.
Yeah, that's a thing.
and
You
those
you know a
metal
lot of
dots.
it's fantasy history, so it's
Yeah, based on certain facts that happen but each the thing that people have to take into consideration is some countries have a different idea of what is true history.
exactly.
you
Yeah.
know. So, but I mean, yeah, the game itself looked like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I didn't get to play any of the Wolfensteins before. I did play a little bit of this one and enjoyed the way, like you said, the way it played. And I think the game seemed like a mesh between old and new. You were talking about cover,
Yeah. That's
using
what
cover
they do.
and being able to sneak, but
Yeah.
also having that old school, hey, let's shoot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
double shotguns.
And you also and it's not regenerating health either. You got your health pickups
Exactly,
and
yeah.
armor pickups, and so like I was saying, like it can be pretty challenging. Like I said, I'm not to the end yet. Ryan's telling me I haven't seen nothing yet, but
Yeah,
like
the-
there's
the-
some sections where like you have to be good.
There's some, like, when I'm thinking of my biggest memories from that game are some of the end areas. So there's some really good. There's one level in particular that's I think probably like the level for that game.
Yep.
For that game, and maybe you'll feel that way too.
Yeah, no. Once I actually we'll return, I'll let you guys know how I felt once I fully beat it. But
Yeah.
so far I've been
Sounds good.
I've been happy with it.
Cool.
It's an older game. I should have been talking about this a couple years ago, probably. But
No, it's not. It's really not that old.
no, it's not that old yet. But
Even if it was, I mean, some games you don't exactly play when they come out.
yeah, exactly.
And you
Yeah.
can come and play it 2 years later, and it still might be better than anything that came out that year.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, I
know,
mean,
so-
completely agreed.
as far as original first-person shooters go, that's probably on my short list of
Well-
the last few years.
If you want to talk about original first-person shooters, I mean, another thing that we'll probably be talking about is that Doom game that's coming up. So
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting in of itself, and I'm anxious to see how that turns out as well.
Yeah, I mean it's very similar to what they're using the id Tech 5 engine
Yeah.
so it's the same engines, not the same developer, but
No.
Of course.
another
Of course.
Bethesda published title.
Yeah,
So-
and so they're using that id Tech, which achieves.
So they'll have programming issues, of course.
Yeah, 1080p, 60 frames per second across all platforms. So take note, all you 900p Xbox developers. It's possible to get 1080p 60 on all the platforms. But no, I mean that's the way that they build that engine. That
No, I
it
know.
scales detail
Dude, like,
dynamically to achieve that.
There's plenty of games on the Xbox that are 1080p.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
Oh,
not
there's
like
plenty of games. It's whether or not the Xbox will allow you to play it at that.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
yeah, but don't most of them get upscaled anyway? Like
Oh yeah, no, nothing comes out 900p
That's-
on the TV. Everything gets upscaled, but it's internal rendering.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the big deal. But the big thing is 60 frames per second,
Yeah.
which is not what we see often
No.
on console games. Is targeting that.
Personally, I would rather have a steady, solid frame rate than like a high resolution. That's just me. Like
Oh yeah, totally.
frame rate is way more important. Like I don't want a stuttering mess. Like if it's gonna be, mess with the, like just for better graphics.
Yeah, so there's a beta out for Doom right now. Well, it'll be over by the
Closed
time
beta.
people listen to this. You would have been able to get into it if you had pre-ordered Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was.
It was that long ago that they.
Yeah, it
Oh, wow.
was. Yeah,
Damn.
this Doom thing's been going on for a long time.
That's not fair.
Actually, I'm starting to think Doom's in a little bit of trouble. But we'll get to that. when we
Yeah,
get to it.
so right now it's just the multiplayer beta that's going, and I have it downloaded, but I haven't played it. I'm not really super interested in the multiplayer aspect of Doom. I'm looking forward more toward the single player, the campaign. I like the idea of what they're going with the campaign, like just super fast paced, visceral, like just run through and kill everything, and some of the old stuff like getting keys and opening doors. But I think it's just going to be fun. I think
Yeah.
that's the main thing. It's not going to be deep. It's not going to be like
It's not going to revolutionize.
thought provoking or anything like that. But it's going to be fun. It's going to look good. And
Yeah.
you know,
No, and that's all you need from some of these games.
Yeah.
When a game knows, or a developer knows what they're going for, what their game is, and they're not trying to shoehorn in these extra ideas that just don't work. It's like, just be who you are.
yeah,
you know?
and that's what Doom's been. It's always been a fast shooter game.
But
Hasn't
I
really
guess
been too much about anything more than that. Shooting hell spawn.
Hellspawn,
Kill 'em.
yeah. But it's been over 10 years now since Doom 3. So I think that's why, it's been a while now. So people are wondering like how this update is going to go. And some early complaints from that beta I'm hearing is that the like when you're in first person, obviously the character model movements are very static. They're not very like you guys know what I'm talking about when you see the other players running around.
They're not well animated.
Yeah, just bad animations.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they're just kind of like floating around instead of like running around.
People are saying it looks like Doom did 10 years ago.
Oh,
just like
which is strange because nothing else looks like Doom did 10 years ago.
yeah. So,
Armor customization straight out of Halo.
yeah.
I hear the combat's very much Unreal, like very fast, very quick, which is weird to have.
It comes
to have id making an Unreal kind of game.
It comes back to that thing we've been saying in past weeks about how companies are focusing on certain aspects of games and not others.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Well, the multiplayer isn't even being made by id. It's being it's being outsourced to a company called Certain Affinity that's made Call of Duty multiplayer modes and worked on Halo 4 multiplayer.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's not even being made in-house. So when you have id, the first-person shooter online developer,
they were
not making the multiplayer in their game, that's crazy.
It's a little weird.
Sign of the times. Sign of the times.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm looking forward to Doom single player.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say Doom single player will be what steals the show here.
Yeah, it'll be a good, dumb first-person shooter to play before I get lost in No Man's Sky.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Ryan's got his No Man's Sky coming.
Yeah.
See,
I'm waiting
I know
for
is
Dark Souls.
Yeah. See, you got
and
Dark
Souls
Souls
coming up.
and all I know is Doom, dude. I don't know. We'll see, man. But it's coming out 3 days after Uncharted. That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
It could affect it now that Uncharted got pushed.
No, I don't think so.
We'll see, man.
I
If
don't
it's
think
3 days after Uncharted, I'm going to be playing Uncharted. I'm sorry.
That's what I mean, dude. That's what I mean. Like,
yeah, Doom's coming out multi-plat though.
Yeah, I know, but still.
PC, Xbox One.
Yeah, maybe those guys will grab it. But...
I think you'll see pretty good numbers for
no,
Doom. I mean, it's Doom.
I'm sure it'll do good. It's still Doom, but I'm just saying, like, it's two big games right next to each other. Sometimes that'll hurt one or the other.
Sometimes. All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up for episode 21 of the Mega Gamecast. Thanks, Red.
Thank you.
Thanks, Drew.
Always.
And we'll see you on the other side.
On the other side.